Tonight on Cronkite News, reaction from community members after mentions of Navajo code talkers were removed from some government websites.
He did a very good job and he's very lucky.
Plus, a canine police dog injured in the line of duty. Tonight, an update on his road to recovery.
And the Ability 360 wheelchair basketball season in the Valley has come to a close. A look at the tournament's positive impact on the community. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Caitlin Humphrey.
And I'm Max Williams. Thanks for joining us.
The Department of Defense has removed web pages honoring Native American code talkers as part of a review of diversity, equity, and inclusion content. The decision follows policy changes under the Trump administration. Emily Fox-Millian has reaction from community members.
For many indigenous communities, the Navajo code talkers are a point of pride, but now they fear their history is being erased.
At the Wesley Bolin Plaza, a monument honoring the Navajo code talkers stands as a reminder of their importance to our state's history. The service members used their indigenous languages to create unbreakable military codes during World War I and World War II. Now, word that their contributions are being deleted from the government websites has community members heartbroken.
It wasn't really something that they should do because the code talkers to come out and support it. We sacrificed our lives for our country, and they just shouldn't be forgotten.
The move from the Trump administration does not feel fair to indigenous individuals who feel code talkers are crucial to American history.
We as Navajo, and to hear of that, to hear of this individual to go and have a power trip, it's our language. That's what the code talker is. That's what it means.
In a press release, the Department of Defense explained that they want to celebrate the success of military heroes of all races, genders, and backgrounds, saying, quote, efforts to divide the force, to put one group ahead of another, erodes camaraderie and threatens mission execution. Axios says the removed content included pages detailing the code talkers' contributions and other histories of Native American service members. Critics of the move say that the timing and scope of these removals raises questions about how the military chooses to honor its past.
For them to slap them in the face like this, you know, they went to war for our country. They put their lives on the line. If these Navajo code talkers never helped won World War II, we would be speaking Japanese.
The Pentagon said late today that the removals were a mistake. Some of the pages have already been restored, with plans to restore all of the content regarding the code talkers soon. In the newsroom, Emily Fox-Millian, Cronkite News.
U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin spent this morning speaking on the phone to discuss a 30-day ceasefire with Ukraine. The call lasted for over an hour, and Trump and Putin both agreed to a limited ceasefire on energy and infrastructure targets. The White House described the ceasefire as, quote, the first step in a movement to peace. Ukrainian officials were not a part of the discussions and did not immediately respond. Shortly after the call between the two leaders ended, air raid sirens were heard in Kyiv, followed by explosions in the city. Last week, Ukrainian officials agreed to the 30-day ceasefire proposal during a meeting in Saudi Arabia led by U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
Also today, over 400 Palestinians were killed after Israel sent airstrikes into Gaza. The move comes in the middle of a fragile ceasefire that was started in January. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he ordered the strikes because Hamas rejected proposals to secure a ceasefire extension and planned to elevate military action.
This is just the beginning. We will continue to fight to achieve all the goals of the war: the release of all our hostages, the elimination of Hamas, and the promise that Gaza will no longer pose a threat to Israel.
Netanyahu vowed to use increasing military strength against Hamas.
Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez are set to speak in Mullet Arena on Thursday. Tempe's the next stop on a swing state road trip. Sanders and Cortez are planning to talk about how Democrats have a perceived lack of direction and leadership within the party. The rally is part of what Sanders is calling a fighting oligarchy tour across the country.
A Scottsdale police K-9 officer is on the mend after being shot in the line of duty. Cronkite News reporter Kayla Marinaw joins us with more on Rocco's road to recovery. Kayla, Rocco is very familiar to us at Cronkite News.
Yes, he is. We first profiled Rocco in November as he competed in a K-9 agility challenge. We also did a ride along with Rocco and his handler, Derek Vucevic. Now, Vucevic is helping the dog recover from gunshot wounds he suffered on the job.
He did a very good job, and he's very lucky. And I'm very grateful for him in doing his job, because it's hard to say what can happen, but at the end of the day, we could be hurt, citizens could be hurt if it wasn't for Rocco.
Rocco is considered a hero for his bravery on the scene, where police responded to a call of a suspect with a gun.
In this particular case, there was extreme risk for us on scene, and that's why the decision was made to utilize him to change the suspect's behavior, hopefully to give us just that little bit of a tactical advantage.
But Vucevic says the suspect did not comply with officers' commands. Police opened fire, striking the suspect and Rocco.
As soon as he was done doing his job, I immediately began providing that aid for him, and we were able to actually get him on the road to the vet within minutes.
Thankfully, Rocco didn't need major surgery, just a few stitches.
You can see that there's an injury to his ear, just above his right eye, and then several stitches on his nose that come across the top and out the side, and then one that was right below his nasal cavity right here. Everything's healing up good. It looks incredible for only being just over a week since the incident, and then hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll be back.
Vucevic told me that Rocco is upset that he can't go to work, and if it were up to Rocco, he would already be back on the streets. They will let him fully heal, but you can expect Rocco to be back on the job as soon as he can. In the studio, Kayla Marinaw sending it back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Kayla. The Panama Canal is known as the 8th wonder of the world. It's a massive engineering feat and a massive moneymaker for the country of Panama.
But not everyone is benefiting from the billions brought in by the canal each year.
We as Panamanians have a right to a share of the benefits generated by the canal, which are not seen in the pockets of Panamanians.
After the break, we'll take a visit to the Panama Canal to see how it's impacting the local economy.
I'm Olivia Williams, and stay tuned because after the break, where I'm going to have the full weather report on this week's weather and next week's as well. And it looks like we're going to be hitting 90 degrees. More details after the break.
You just want to reach people. You want to make a difference. You want to help them. I have an opportunity to do something I never imagined I would be able to do. Go out and build the best biology class the world has ever seen. When you go into Dreamscape Learn, you put on a set of goggles and you can go anywhere. You can be anyone and do anything. The thing about Arizona State University is they're always thinking about what's next. We can create virtual reality experiences so that you can learn by exploring in a virtual world the way that scientists explore in the real world. And kids can feel that. All these emotions are what help the brain encode information. When I see a student come out of VR, the look on their face is nothing like I've ever seen when I finish a lecture. They look so happy to be there in that moment. You know that you've reached them.
Thankfully, 2 astronauts aboard the International Space Station have finally returned home after their stay was unexpectedly increased by 9 months. Astronauts Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore were supposed to return to Earth last year, but a malfunction in the return capsule caused the 2 to stay aboard the ISS for much longer. The 2 will return home aboard SpaceX's Crew 9 capsule, and the spacecraft has landed safely off the coast of Florida.
There's a good chance that the couch you sit on, the TV you're watching, or the computer you use for work came to you via a ship that traveled through the Panama Canal. It's a vital part of our everyday lives, but the people who live and work near the canal feel its importance more immediately. And as Leah Phillips found out, they may not be reaping the benefits of this economic engine.
Here in the heart of Panama City, the sights and sounds proudly tell the story of Panamanians. In a country driven by tourism, services, and trade, fueled by the hard work of everyday people. And as these streets come to life each morning, so does the growing frustration of those who keep the economy running.
We as Panamanians have a right to a share of the benefits generated by the canal, which are not seen in the pockets of Panamanians and are reflected in other high-ranking families.
The Panama Canal serves as a massive driver to the country's GDP, generating the equivalent of $5 billion just last year. It's a huge sense of pride for a country of just 4.5 million people.
There are so many emotions all at once that represent the Panama Canal. It was started by the French and completed by the United States, which took control of the project. It was a magnificent project, the 8th wonder of the world, but it's located on Panamanian soil.
And here in Panama's historic neighborhood of Cascaviejo, these vendors are doing so much more than just contributing to the economy. They're a key part of what keeps Panama's vibrant culture alive. But in this place where culture meets commerce every day, people say they want to see the prosperity of the canal make its way to the pockets of Panamanians who need it most, especially those in more rural areas.
What Panamanians suffer most and want most is their fellow countrymen in the rural areas to have money, to have schools, not shanty schools. There are people who don't even go to school, despite the fact that there is a lot of money here through the canal.
President Jose Molino acknowledges the country's economic challenges, saying his administration is working to create more jobs and private sector involvement.
We've recently been announcing various public investment projects here with the aim of contributing to the revitalization of the economy.
Molino says these investments could create a more stable economy.
14 major projects are set to generate thousands of jobs. That's our goal as part of this national effort.
And for many, that stability can't come soon enough.
Panamanian people said the canal, and the government officials and journalists here say the canal is Panamanian. That if it really is Panamanian, help the people in need.
Some believe that U.S. involvement could have a positive impact.
The message I give to the United States is to try to help Panama so there are no more people in politics taking money.
It's a reality many say they've learned to live with, in a land they still proudly call home.
But, well, unfortunately, it's my Panama, and we have to love the way it is.
In Panama City, Leah Phillips, Cronkite News.
Coming back to Arizona, I hope you're ready for warmer days because the chilly temps are slowly leaving the valley.
Yeah, I'm ready for the heat. Olivia Williams joins us now from the Cronkite Weather Center with what we can expect.
Yes, we're definitely seeing it warm up in Phoenix this week. Let's take a look at the evening planner. It's going to dip down to 62 degrees by 10 p.m., but nothing out of the ordinary, just a little chilly. Now let's take a look at the low temperatures. We're looking at 49 degrees in Yuma, 39 degrees in Kingman, 22 degrees in Grand Canyon, and 51 degrees out here in Phoenix. Now let's look at the high temperatures for tomorrow. 79 degrees in Yuma, definitely the warmest down there. 57 degrees in Prescott, 59 degrees in Sedona, and 75 degrees in Phoenix. Now let's look at the 8-day forecast. Tomorrow it's going to be 75 degrees and sunny, and it looks like it's going to be for the remainder of the week. Now typically we don't see it hit 90 degrees until March 30th, but this year we could see that 90 degrees much sooner. Let's take a look at the rest of the week. Now we're going to see it hit 94 degrees potentially on Monday and rise up until 98 degrees on Tuesday and Wednesday, just below 100 degrees. So we're definitely seeing that heat come back into Phoenix just in time for the spring. From the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Olivia Williams reporting.
Thanks, Olivia. Coming up next, if you didn't already know, spring training is well underway here in the Valley.
That's right, Max, and one former Diamondbacks player is glad to be back in town. The former World Series MVP, now turned Cubs manager, never forgets to appreciate the game he loves. How he's showing that love up next on Cronkite News.
Welcome to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Genaro Garcia. Let's take you to PHX Arena last night, where the Suns had by far their most dominant win of the season. The Suns hosted the Raptors for their second game of a back-to-back after a loss in LA on Sunday, making up for it with an all-around team win, beating the Raptors 129-89. After losing the first quarter, it looked like another night full of struggles for the Suns, but a dominant 39-11 second quarter would lead to them taking a 23-point lead at the half. Devin Booker led the effort with 27 points, but the whole team showed up for work last night as 7 players had double-digit points. With 13 games left, the Suns are now 1 game behind Dallas for the last play-in spot.
We need to win games, and I'm praying on nobody's downfall, but hopefully they lose some, and we can sneak into the 10, maybe 9 spot, and handle business when we get there.
ASU men's basketball has been selected to compete in the inaugural College Basketball Crown Tournament. It's aimed to rival the National Invitation Tournament and allows teams not selected to March Madness to continue their season. The tournament takes place March 31st to April 6th and is set to feature 16 teams from 7 different conferences. ASU will travel to Vegas to face Nebraska at the MGM Grand Arena for their first round matchup. The tournament provides an opportunity for ASU to try and build upon an injury-riddled season and allow for departing players to build their draft stock before attempting to go pro. The winner of this game advances to play the winner of Georgetown and Washington State in the quarterfinals on April 2nd. Staying on the hardcore, wheelchair basketball season is in full swing. Ability 360 recently wrapped up its wheelchair basketball tournament series, which included 3 tournaments across 4 divisions. Cronkite News reporter Jason Goldie was at these tournaments and has more.
Every winter, the Ability 360 Sport and Fitness Center in Phoenix hosts the best of the best wheelchair basketball athletes from around the country. In a series of tournaments, wheelchair basketball players from teams throughout the southwestern United States push themselves to the limit against other wheelchair athletes in various divisional competitions.
Here at Ability 360, we host 3 basketball tournaments a year, if not 4. Beginning with our Division I tournament, which is the best teams in the country coming out. And we have our D2, D3 tournament the week after that, and then we finish with an all-women's tournament.
Wheelchair basketball is played on the same size court with a basket the same height as in standard basketball. Many of the rules are similar to standard basketball, with one key difference. A player can push their wheelchair up to 2 times while holding the ball, but must then dribble it to avoid a traveling call. While prior athletic experience is not necessary to get started playing wheelchair sports, many athletes have played stand-up sports, and the athletic programs at Ability 360 give them the opportunity to continue to play the sports they have loved all their lives.
I was a stand-up athlete before I got hurt, and wheelchair basketball has kind of just brought me back. I played Division II stand-up before I got in the Air Force, and then I broke my back in Afghanistan, so getting in the chair was a big change, but it's fun.
Although men and women compete together in Divisions 1 through 3, there is a women's showcase tournament devoted specifically to female athletes.
I like that we get to have a women's team so that all the women are here getting to play and getting an opportunity to play against everyone, and we're all getting better.
Aside from the competition, these tournaments create opportunities for wheelchair athletes to meet other athletes whose experiences are similar to their own.
I think it's the community. It's the people and the camaraderie that we have, and just, we all come from different walks of life, so being able to come together and play as a team is the most important to me.
1, 2, 3, in Phoenix, Jason Goldie, Cronkite News.
It's no secret that the Los Angeles Dodgers are one of the winningest teams in the past 5 years, and that makes them a popular team to watch in spring training. I went out to Camelback Ranch to catch this year's vibe from the fans, who have traveled from as far away as Japan to attend these games. And they don't mind paying high prices, as the Dodgers have one of the most expensive ticket prices per Cactus League game, according to TickPick. But it's worth it to be a bit closer to the defending champs. From crowd gatherings for potential autograph opportunities, to watching fan favorites like Shohei Ohtani and Kike Hernandez, Camelback Ranch was a hot zone for Dodger fans this spring season, including a lifelong Dodger fan from New Mexico.
I mean, they've always had, sell out just about every game, but it's just they've gone 10, 11 years old winning a lot of games, and that's gotten even more people in the fold, I think.
The Dodgers beat the Cubs in Game 1 of their 2-game set earlier this morning in Tokyo, Japan, a historic moment for the 5 Japanese players in the matchup. As for the Cubs, they are led by a man who is loved on the north side of Chicago, but as Max Zepeda reports, also has deep ties to the Valley and the Cactus League.
The Chicago Cubs enter 2025 once again as not only a team with expectations, but as one of the go-to attractions of the Cactus League for baseball fans.
It's pretty awesome. I was actually taken aback a little bit. That first game I walked out there, and I think there was 7,000 or 8,000 people in the stands, and plenty of people here tailgating and watching batting practice and stuff.
And for manager Craig Counsell, he has grown all too familiar with the brisk desert vibes in preparing for another grind of 162.
The Cactus League is just the better league. 15 or so teams within an hour of each other is great for the baseball community. I've been lucky to be part of it for like 27 of the 30 years I've been in baseball.
But Counsell's impact in the Valley was never felt more in those 27 years than as a player. Counsell spent 2 different multi-year stints with the D-backs, including being the most valuable player of the 2001 National League Championship Series, helping the then purple and teal Snakes capture their first and still only world championship. Most importantly, his leadership on the diamond quickly transitioned him into managing years later for both the Milwaukee Brewers and now in his 3rd season in Chi-Town, a quality that players walking into the clubhouse instantly took note of.
He knows when to step in, he knows when to point out the details, get his point across, make sure we know what's important. He didn't need anyone building the structure out for him. He always was accountable for himself and preparing and being ready to roll, and it's probably why he had a long, great career.
For some, the Cactus League is a chance to embrace the Valley's beauty while getting in shape for the new calendar year. But for those like Counsell, it's simply just another day amongst the game he's loved his whole life. In Max Zepeda, Cronkite News.
Wildcats' first-round draft prospect Teteroa McMillan held a private workout yesterday after previously opting out of the NFL Combine in late February. McMillan opted out like many other high draft prospects, believing that his tape should speak for itself. But an impressive private workout has boosted his already high draft stock. The 6'4" wideout posted a 4.54 40-yard dash, which would have been the 25th fastest time at the NFL Combine. McMillan's workout silenced the doubters concerned about his ability to move at NFL speed, given his giant frame. McMillan posted 84 catches for 1,319 yards last season with Arizona and is expected to be the second Wildcat drafted in the first round in consecutive years. That's it for today's edition of the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Renato Garcia, sending it back to the desk.
Coming up next, the Dodgers and Cubs started their regular season this morning in Tokyo.
Yeah, that's right. We have a recap for those who didn't set their alarms. Find out what went down in the early morning clash after the break.
I grew up in a small border town, and water was really important to us. Without enough water, we can't farm, we can't eat, we can't live. And the way we're doing it right now, straight up doesn't have a future. I went to ASU because this is a place where you solve problems. With vertical farming, we can grow the same amount of food with 95% less water than traditional farming. The work I'm doing at ASU is changing the way I look at the world.
The scientists and engineers that support the next mission to Mars could be in this class.
Getting a degree at ASU is a journey that can take you anywhere. Into a world of groundbreaking technology and renowned award-winning faculty. Professors who help you to impact the world. Whether you're on campus or at home, becoming your best starts with learning from the best.
When I was younger, there were no engineers around me. So I had to become my own role model. At ASU, I wasn't just learning to be an engineer. I was actually engineering. And graduating, I already had real-world jobs lined up. Before ASU, my goal was to be a strong, confident woman. And when I left, I became a strong, confident engineer.
Well, Welcome back. The MLB season officially kicked off early this morning between a game between the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Chicago Cubs in Tokyo.
If you weren't awake for the game this early, don't worry because we've got the highlights. The Dodgers earned their first victory of the season in a final score of 4-1. Shohei Ohtani shined in his return to Japan with 2 base hits. The Cubs struck off early with Miguel Amaya, but it was clutch hits by second baseman Tommy Edman and catcher Will Smith that put the Dodgers ahead, and they never looked back. The Cubs look to bounce back against phenom pitcher Roki Sasaki, who makes his MLB debut tomorrow, bright and early at 3 a.m.
That's it for tonight's edition of Cronkite News. I'm Caitlin Humphrey.
And I'm Max Williams. Thanks for joining us.
And to see top Arizona stories anytime, log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.